everybody, and welcome to episode 12 of PLU. And we are doing this today on a very special day. It's Valentine's Day. So thank you for joining us. We are your hosts. I am Paleki of Spiritual Medium Paleki and Louise of Your Healing Journey with Louise Lang Farr. How are you doing, Miss Lou?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good. How was your week?
My week was good. Where do the weeks go? We say that every time we meet. It goes by fast.
Isn't it? Hard to believe. Oh, hi, buddy. And Jack's coming to say hi to everybody, too.
There you go. Happy Valentine's Day. Yeah, happy Valentine's Day to Jack.
Oh, hi, buddy. Yes, so we decided, as we mentioned, we are going to try and do the podcast as frequently as we can. But just with our schedules, we aren't always able to do them weekly. But we thought today would be a special one because it is Valentine's Day. And so the topic we want to discuss is love, soulmates, and also different ways that people can do either to manifest and draw love into their lives through intentions or rituals and ceremonies that people may do, or even things that you may need to do to release love in order to open up and move forward into new lessons for yourself. So we are going to break it down and do it in different perspectives, again, like we normally do. So it's going to be sort of like visualization, shamanic rituals practices, different things. But first we are going to start with, and I think because it is Valentine's Day, where a lot of people either focus on the intention of the soulmate, or, you know, they want the soulmate, they want to work on that. I think it's important before we delve into that I know you mentioned, Lou, you looked it up. So maybe if you can read your definition there, just so that people know what we're kind of addressing when we say soulmate potentially.
Okay. Well, I've done a dictionary, I've done Wikipedia, I've done other references, and basically it's the same thing. A soulmate is a person with whom one has feeling of deep or natural affinity. This may involve similarity, love, romance, platonic relationships, comfort, intimacy, sexuality, sexual activity, spirituality, compatibility, and trust.
Perfect. So basically what that's saying is the person or the spirit that you gel with the most, I guess, out of other spirits, or the one you connect with in that context. Now, the reason why it's important we want to address that to start with is there's going to be different opinions that we're going to present here as well, because we're going to discuss that whole soulmate concept. But then also I want to address, if we can, how limiting the potential for soulmate can be as well. Because for some people, it keeps them stuck in the belief of either not worthy enough or not deserving. And so they tend to limit their ability to find somebody because they've put so much pressure on that wording itself. So when we break it down, Lou, from a healing perspective, so let's sort of start kind of with healing stuff. Okay, so people, it's Valentine's Day, people are watching, you either have a partner and you want to cement your relationship, or, you know, let's start maybe with the ones who don't, are single on Valentine's Day, because I know there's a lot of people who tend to be almost, I don't want to say triggered, but emotionally disrupted by days like this, where it really makes them contemplate or realize that they're single. So for you, what type of ceremony or practice would you recommend to somebody if they just wanted to start putting intention or ripple into the universe?
Well, what I suggest to people that, you know, come to me with that question or that intention that they have is just that, have an intention of what exactly you are looking for in a partner, in a relationship. I try not to use the word soulmate because that seems to be such a new age type of wording on finding somebody that's compatible with you. And then when you talk about compatibility, my husband and I have been together for 28 years. We've known each other for 35. We couldn't be more opposite. But he supports me 110% on what I do. He delights in my happiness. He is very happy when I succeed and when he sees me how passionate I am with the work that I do. And the same with me when he was involved in Scouts and he was a leader and all the awards he had received. And that makes my heart sing. It makes me extremely happy to see him really flourish in something that he's passionate about. So that's our relationship. But I mean, we couldn't be more opposite when it comes to the way we look, the way we the different things that we like. We're totally, but we gel. We just gel.
And that's good. But I think that's important to sort of specify where you're saying, you know, opposite, sort of that opposite attract mentality in that. Because for a lot of people, when they are putting out the intention in the universe, most people look for the person that they think is going to be their match based on what they perceive or believe are the characteristics that they want.
Yes.
So, and what some people don't understand, and I always, you know, I love this statement, you know, I say it often with clients, the universe does things for you, not to you.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of people, the universe might actually be going, oh, no, that's not going to be a match for you, love. That's actually not what you think it's going to be. You know, maybe this opposite potential works. You know, that's not going to be the best bet for you. So we're just going to hold off so that you don't go through that disruption. And the problem is a lot of people, because they don't receive what they want as soon as they wanted or whatever intention, they start going to the belief that it's not out there for them. So therefore, they've missed their opportunity, you know, they've missed their chance kind of thing. And I know for even shamanic practice and that, a lot of people, when they come for healing work with me, either, you know, with the readings or that, or like we said, that type of work, people do hang on to a lot of past emotional traumas from relationship stuff or past beliefs where they believe they've missed that soulmate, you know, kind of thing. And I think that's why it's important that we also specify that, yes, you know, in your sense, you believe Paul's your soulmate. So when it comes to you, you go, you know, Paul's your match kind of thing. But like we said,
yeah,
he's not a soulmate.
He's not a soulmate. He's not a soulmate because the thing is, I've had other relationships in my life where I believe that these people were part of my soul group.
Yes, and that I think is where we need to specify is sometimes what people are mixing up as soulmate might be soul grouping, but you can still have souls changing relationships with somebody who might not be in your soul group because you're learning, growing, and sharing with each other.
Yes.
And I think that's sort of the thing where you got to be careful. And it's that same, you know, it's that we've discussed this before in some of the other videos, you know, about how limiting sometimes spiritual patterns or beliefs can be, you know, that they can get stuff stuck, where you get in this one energy flow or, you know, this one thing where you go, this is, you know, how things are supposed to be. And I think the word soulmate can actually be like that, or this belief that there's that one person who's meant to be the perfect match. When in reality on earth, a lot of the time relationships are for growing, healing, and shifting of our soul's evolution. And then, like you said, there's those that might be attached to soul groups.
Yeah. For me, what I suggest to people is to write, the ceremony that I usually do is to write on a yellow piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
And to write down, you know, what that person that's come to see me, their interests, you know, put their interests and what they're passionate about and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other column is what they're looking for somebody to share that with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to share their passion and the things that make them happy. And then after that, I have them sort of fold it. Mm-hmm. And hold it in their hands, and usually I'll drum for them, and they'll journey with mm-hmm. with that, you know, written concretely written down, and have them connect with their compassionate allies, and maybe get more of a perspective of what they require to do in their lives to mm-hmm. come to, you know, fruition when it comes to what their intention is, the work that they require to do. To move along. So I will do that, and most of the times there's almost like an epiphany for them. They realize that, oh, I haven't cleared, like you were talking about, mm-hmm. I haven't cleared that last relationship. I'm still sort of hooked on that one. I'm still latching on to the emotions that were mm-hmm. involved in this, you know, the breakup or whatever it was. I really need to do some work on that. Like they get these aha moments that, oh, well, that's why nothing's happening in my life. I'm not meeting anybody because I haven't taken care of the past. I haven't taken care of the past.
I think that's really important. Sorry, Leah, I'll just jump in on there.
No, go ahead.
I think that's really important for people to sort of see right now, because a lot of the time when we're working with people, I don't know how it is with you, but I see a lot of people that create a list for themselves, but it's qualities that they don't want because of past issues from a past relationship, not necessarily what they feel is genuine, like what their soul wants. It's almost like, you know, they go, I want somebody who supports me because the ex didn't support them, you know, or I want somebody who, you know, I can trust because they have this belief that they couldn't trust from the past kind of thing. And I think that's very important because the universe doesn't see that as a list of desires, but a list of what you don't want. And so you're still creating a list of fear patterns. You're still creating a list of potential opportunities that can be resisting or scary for you. And if you're scary, your spirit goes, I don't want to do it. Never mind, leave it alone. You know, so that's why it's important. So that's why Lou's saying, like, when she does the list with her clients and they drum, it's sort of when she says they're journeying with it, it means your spirit is really setting its intention on that list and going, how do I genuinely feel about this list? You know, what is my spirit saying about that? And that's what Lou means when she says a lot of the time, they'll go, oh, I actually haven't healed this, or, you know, and you will have things like that happen. Now, we're going to keep it more simple in the sense, like I said, Lou does her drum journeys online, and you, if you go to her page, which the links will be posted below, you can sort of go there, and you can definitely do ceremonies like that during the drum circles or set those intentions. But for today, we want to make more sort of like an easier energy for people to sort of put out a ripple in the universe. So I'll go with it from a different perspective.
Okay.
So when you're saying create the list, I go beautiful intention, but again, as long as you're working with the list. So you're not setting it, like locking it in place. This is your list kind of thing.
No, because that can go either way. You know, it flows. There's an ebb and flow to it.
And that's why it's very important. And then I say to people, you know, and this is something I'd recommend, even before you start the list, I would also say work on your own personal intention or manifestation that you were actually worthy of great love. You know, because a lot of people put this list out, but their subconscious or their root belief is I'm not actually worthy, either because they're scared of relationships from what they've seen in their past, you know, past family traumas, you know, past things that have happened with exes, or, you know, things that they perceived that didn't work out. So even though people might think that they're visualizing or drawing something to them, they might actually be subconsciously blocking them, which is why I always say it's very important to go, do you truly in your heart believe that you are worthy of love? And this is a tricky one. And I know for a lot of people, especially when you're looking for somebody, you go, of course I do. And you go, but it's not that it's good or bad if you don't, because as soon as you address that you don't, that means you have the right to change it or you can shift it. But it's when you deny it that the universe holds up.
Yes.
And that's the important thing. So that's what Lou and I are trying to say today. Like, you know, opening this intention, there's nothing bad if negative stuff comes up, if sad stuff comes up, if fear patterns come up. That's the whole point of doing rituals or ceremonies, to address the parts of yourself that might still need a little bit more love or a little bit more healing. And maybe you do need to do a tiny bit more working through fear patterns before you're ready to let the person in, and that's totally okay as well. You know, so it's kind of like if you do this thing where you go, am I worthy? You know, then you can work on a list and do healing work. And, you know, there's meditations for love. There's different rituals and ceremonies, pagan, anything like that. You can do spell work. There are spells for love, you know, kind of thing. So there's many different things you can do. And the way I explain it to people, anything that you're doing is putting an intention in the universe, but it's your belief that's going to see it follow through.
Yes. I agree 100%.
You know, and that's why it's so important that, you know, when it comes to drawing a partner to you, we go, it's perfect. But I mean, and I've had it many times in my life, oddly, that I have manifested a partner exactly like I wanted. I was like, this is what I want the guy to be like. And the guy pitches up, and then I got there and I'm like, oh, this is not what I wanted at all. You know, so I learned that very quickly. Be careful what you're putting out in the universe, because you receive it back.
Yes.
You know, and I think that's where it's a very important thing. Now, I think I can specify this too, because it's opposite ends of the spectrum. Lou has her partner, long-term partner. Myself, I'm single, been single for a long time. You know, so when we're coming with the healing work, we're both saying we're coming at it from different perspectives, but with the same intention of that you have to be consciously aware of your energies or potential blocks from your past if you want to shift and change things for your future.
Yes. And you were saying the word worthy. That is the biggest block that the majority of people have, is not having that sense of worthiness, that they are worthy to receive love and to receive support and to find somebody that you can trust and be loyal and, you know, because of past experiences.
But also, this is a great thing, again, to segue back. I can't remember the number of the video, but where we discuss sort of how spiritual beliefs can become rigid. And a lot of the time when you're dealing with spiritual healing work, and again, I'm not trying to trash anybody, I'm just expressing from my perspective, it's almost when you're trying to do healing work that you're supposed to just go, oh, believe in love, believe in beauty, believe in all this fabulous stuff, you know, put it out and this great partner is going to show up in your life kind of thing. And it's not that that doesn't work. It does work if you've cleared the other blocks out of the way, you know, but I always have this thing where it's kind of like, I mean, and I'm not saying this in a derogatory way, just from the amount of clients I've met over the years, I know way more clients that have put out the intention to meet a partner that have not met them than have actually put out the intention and drawn them to them. And that's not that means it doesn't happen. But what it is these clients, I've had to go back with them and go, this is a trauma block. This is what you're holding on to. This is a thing. And what people don't realize is there's nothing wrong with having a negative block or something that you still have to address and heal. And I think that's why it's so important, because a lot of the self-help books are basically like, it's fine, just visualize happy and happy pitches up. Just think positive and positive pitches up, you know, and that doesn't actually work if your spirit's gone into a guarding mechanism.
Right, right.
You know, and that's why I think it's important. And now, like, even with Lou, like when she'll do the drumming and that, what you can also do too, you can take the ceremony to the next level of the healing to the next level, where you can actually do the shamanic healing itself. So that's where you can do the unravelings, you know.
Yeah, extractions of spiritual intrusions, soul retrievals. You know, a lot of the times that's where the block is some traumas that in their lives, you know, and then it's not necessarily past relationships, but traumas that they had experienced since childhood that has sort of brought them to where they're at now. So yes, there are other ceremonies that you can.
And that's what people don't realize either, that a lot of the time your blocks might not be directly from your life, but from even your parents or seeing your grandparents. You know, how they interacted, their relationships, other family members that you've seen gone through things, you know, because despite what people think, if you see a trauma pattern happening in relationships around you, your spirit is still going to go, oh, I don't want that. Guard myself. You know, so if it learns these particular patterns, it sort of gets itself in the cycle where it just keeps repeating it, which is why that's important. You know, but I think for the majority of people, I don't believe it's that they don't want love, but that we are not. And I believe this with everything, not just with relationships, wealth, abundance, happiness, anything like that. We have it trained out of us when we become human, almost.
Yes.
You know, because we're entitled to it. Universal flow and universal law states that as a spirit incarnated as a human, we are entitled to tap into any lessons we want to. And those lessons also include love or soulmate lessons. So we go, they're just as entitled. But for many people, and again, that's what Lou was saying with this worthiness, the self-worth. And I don't want to seem mean when I'm saying this, but I'm going to be real. Even if you don't feel worthy, and you're trying to convince yourself that you do, the universe knows that you don't feel worthy. So trying to pretend that you're there, the universe knows you're not fooling anybody. So there's nothing wrong with going, you know what, I actually have a lot of fear patterns. And this is one thing I tell people, work with your blocks, honor the blocks. So you can literally go, I have fear patterns around relationships that I am still working through, but I don't want them to be the reason I don't let somebody into my life. I open up and manifest that towards me.
Yes.
You know, so you can still work with the blocks, but I think that's the thing that we were trying to say again with spirituality. It's all happy and puppies and love and rainbows, you know, and you can't have a bad day when you're spiritual, because when you're spiritual, you fix everything. And I think for the majority of people, that's what I'm saying is, and again, I hate to say this, but it's such an important topic for so many people, and I don't want to seem like I'm criticizing other people's work. But if you just put out, I want somebody great, I can guarantee you I would have had 100 husbands by now, like for all the ceremonies, rituals, practices. And it took me a very long time to come back and really do the soul work to go, oh, that's a really scary topic for me, you know? And I think what a lot of people don't realize is love is actually very scary for a lot of spirits, despite what we see in the Hallmark movies.
Yes, exactly.
You know, how fantastic and, you know, all this beautiful stuff. It's actually one of the bigger lessons that we learn as humans, but it's almost like we don't treat it as a big lesson. You know, like, a perfect example, let's just say I go through some sort of trauma. So a heavy trauma, like if somebody goes through war and they have PTSD, you would never go, oh, well, just think positive, get over it. You'd go, oh, no, you've been through trauma. You've got to work through that. You got to heal that. You got to address that. You got to assess that. You got to take your time, you know? So there's certain things that we look at that we go, oh, no. Be gentle with your spirit. It's traumatic. But for some reason, love doesn't tend to fall into that category, or the
Mm.
emotional trauma that people go through with relationships are not treated in the same way. And it's like, well, just visualize somebody new, just draw somebody to you. And that's where I think a lot of people get sort of caught up on it. And that's what Lou's saying. Even if you go for a healing and like that comes up during your drum journey, you know, your blocks, it doesn't mean people necessarily are going to fix them.
No, no, it doesn't. It really, the work has to be done by you.
Mhm.
You can go see any practitioners and poof, you know, your life is all
Yeah.
level and balanced, and it's you're the one that is doing the work. We
Mhm.
as practitioners are a hollow bone, meaning
Yeah.
that we hold this sacred space for you so that you can tap into your
Yes.
healing and learn the healing that resonates with you, what works best for you.
Mhm.
You know, you go see Paleki for a reading or a healing session, or for myself or any other practitioner, we are there to hold that space so that you can tap in, have that aha moment
Yes.
going, oh, shoot, yes, I know this, but
Yeah,
why
the
am I
healing is
not?
really more for your recognition,
Yes.
you know, for your soul's awareness to go, this is where your stuck work come at.
Yeah, exactly. And it's work, you know, like you were
Yes.
saying, it's not all light and bubblegum and unicorns and you know and relationships with strangers,
Mhm.
because it's really strangers, you
Yeah.
know, you bring into your life. After knowing Paul for 35 years, I'm still discovering stuff about
Yeah.
him, and he's still discovering stuff about me. This is
And
a
you will, right? Because souls are evolving and changing and shifting. And you know, that I think is another one of, and I hate, you know, I love Hallmark movies. If you know me, like
I enjoy it
Hallmark
too.
movies are my jam, like they're my go-to. But I think the whole thing with Hallmark movies is people have this perception that it's like, oh, there is no challenge in the romance, you know, it always works out perfectly, you know. And I tell people, I'll joke, I go, where's my Hallmark ending? You know, but instead of going, oh, poor me, I'll go, where is my Hallmark ending? Why isn't it coming up yet? Why hasn't the success yet? You know, and I mean, I have no trouble telling people that the thought of a relationship is a panic for me. Like, I am like, bolt to the door the minute. And I mean, I've had beautiful, beautiful men in my life who have wanted long-term relationships, and I'm like, bye. like, I think I might be that perpetual runaway bride. And it's not
Oh,
that I don't believe in love, it's that I have fear patterns around love from things I've seen in my life. And that's not bad to me, you know. That's what we're
yeah.
saying. There should be no shame in admitting that you have fear, or you have the belief that you're not good enough. And I mean, a lot of people, especially if you've been through traumatic ones, divorces, anything like that, depending on your age grouping, a lot of people start developing the belief they're too old for love, you know, they're
Yes.
not worthy.
Yes.
Then we go into societal pressures and norms. I'm not beautiful, I'm not good enough, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not young enough, you know, kind of thing like that. Who's going to want me with all the baggage? So there's so many layers on top of that, and that's what we're trying to say. Layers require healing. You
Yes.
know, it's almost like having this intention, you want somebody great. We go, cool, the universe knows you want somebody great, but there might be some stuff that has to be taken out of the way first, or at least acknowledged for you
Yes.
to work through, you know. But I know so many beautiful souls who are like, no, I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna you know, and they push it. And again, you know, we spoke about this before. Sometimes, like with programs or anything like The Secret, you know, I believe The Secret works if you have other stuff lined up in place before you set your
Yes.
intention. I truly believe that. I go, The Secret works, but I also think there's a missing part to it, why people don't end up manifesting what they want,
Mm-hmm.
because the other stuff is not resolved yet. So yes, put the ripple out in the universe, but if you don't believe you're good enough or worthy, and I mean, that's for job, relationship, partners, house, whatever it happens
Anything.
to be,
Mm.
any sort of thing. And again, I think that's where it becomes really important. You know, if you have an accident, you know, a car accident, you go to rehabilitation. You know,
Yes.
you go to rehab, you get your body back on track if you've been hurt, like, you know. So there's this gentle healing, and it's expected, you know. You have a, you know, medical things, whatever, it's expected that you take your time. But somehow with love, it's just meant to, oh, bounce back, get back from it. Love is beautiful, there should be no trauma in love. And so it's almost that there's this shaming pattern in love, and because of that, it goes on two sides. It's either this, I have to have this beautiful love, or people tend to teeter into the bitter space, or
Yes.
the resentful space around relationships.
Yes, exactly. No, it's interesting, and we've had these conversations
Yeah.
before, and we do have a lot of friends that are single, and And I'm always, I have a best friend that I've known for, gosh, we've known each other for 54 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd love for her to find a partner.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, but right now she has other things that are important for her at the
Mm-hmm.
moment. And you know, so I'll see somebody or I'll meet somebody and I'm like, have you thought of this person? Have you thought of that person?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, right now my head is not really into this, so I'm
Mhm.
not going to even, you know, spend any energy
And I
on
think
doing
that's
that.
important too, to be able to say that because remember, a relationship is still a lesson while you're on earth. And sometimes you have other lessons that take on more precedence in
Mm,
certain phases in your life, you know, because there are people who have the relationships where you go through your lessons with the partner, they're there to support you. But then there's other ones that your soul doesn't need the lesson, you know. And for anybody who follows my page from a ways back, I do channel a non-physical entity known as Chandela, extraterrestrial entity. And when we spoke of that before, they specified that because everything's a lesson, some lessons don't require another person in your energy at the time while you're partaking in that lesson. So people don't see it that way. They go, oh, I'm struggling by myself. When the universe goes, oh no, your soul chose to learn this on its own because it was significant for your spiritual evolution. You know, and that's what people don't see, is that you can go, I'd like to change my lessons, I want to shift those intentions, you know, those are your birthrights. But because we get stuck in a belief system of not worthiness, and again, this applies as well to what we've discussed before with healers not believing they're worthy, you know, people second guessing themselves, not thinking they're good enough.
yeah.
These are legitimate traumas that your soul may potentially have gone through, and you really must be gentle and address them like you've been through traumas. You know,
Yes.
because
Yes.
people brush it aside. They go, oh, you broke up with this person 20 years ago. And you go, yes, but if your soul's never had that type of trauma before, experienced that type of lesson before, and it's not used to it, then it is going to sort of react in a way or potentially hold on from a fear-based pattern.
Yeah.
You,
I mean, you know, even I'm going to go back to Paul and I, even
Mhm.
with our relationship, we've, you know, gone through some struggles. And for me, it was sort of certain, you know, time in our relationship and our marriage where that fear from a past
Yeah.
relationship, you
Hmm.
know, of not trusting
Yep.
and jealousy and things like that. I'm like, whoa, where's that coming from? I thought
Yep.
I had dealt with that.
Yep.
Certain things that maybe he would have said or done triggered that
Yep.
emotion back into my life. So, you know, so it gets rocky. The words are said, and I'm saying things that are from
Yes,
that
you're
because
projecting
of the
from your
fear
past. Yep.
from the past, right? So yeah, so you slowly sort of work through that process. And listen, it's not really, and you know, you've had relationships,
Yep.
it's not easy. It's
Hmm.
difficult. You know, it is
Hmm.
not a
Yep.
Hallmark movie. Or we were talking about
Yep.
the How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I
Oh,
watched
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
again
yeah.
last night. You know, it's such a great movie, but if you watch that, you know, it shows the different patterns that human beings have in
Yes,
their
or the
lives, you
different ways
know,
we react. Yeah.
right? So, yeah, anyway, it's,
And I mean, I think for everybody, like regardless, you know, kind of thing, there is that you know, that underlying belief that it's like, you know, I want to be loved, I want somebody great, you know, and especially like I said around Valentine's Day, that triggers for a lot of people, you know, or even around other holidays, even Christmas. I know a
yes,
lot of people
New
struggle being
Year's,
single at Christmas, yet New Year's
New
another big
Year's.
one. Like, so there's a lot because it's a bit of a heavy thing, but suicide's are very, very prevalent at Christmas time. It actually goes up a lot more than other times of the year because so many people are single and they struggle with it not having people around them.
Yeah.
So when things like that are happening, you want to literally say to people, there's obviously trauma attached here. There's obviously fear patterns, belief patterns, you know, kind of these things. And that's why it's so important to be able to acknowledge that maybe, you know, and we're talking about spiritual healing, but that you can do physical healings too. If you need to go to therapy to work through traumatic patterns, you know, abuse patterns from the past or whatever, or, you know, you need to go work with the group, or you need to, you know, put intention.
Hmm.
There's a lot of stuff that you can do to work through things as a way to actively participate in your healing, not just necessarily go, oh, I'm single and I'm not worthy. You know,
Yes.
you can have that belief, but the thing about beliefs is your belief will manifest a reality to suit itself. So if
Yes.
my belief is I'm not worthy, I will manifest a reality to fulfill that belief. So I go, you see, look at all the stuff that's happening. I'm not worthy. That's what we're trying to say in that context. Is there's this thing where it's almost shameful to admit that you need healing or you need help on certain topics. And, that's what Lou and I really want to stress with these videos, why we talk about our personal journeys, all this stuff, so that people honestly understand that there is no shame around your healing. There is no shame around what you need to go through. That's literally what the core of our practices is. That's what drew us to the healing work. I mean, for me, like, my healing work, it helped me. I've worked through so much stuff with my guides, my angels, past home loved ones. That's why I wanted to do readings, because I was like, wow, I can help other people with this. I can help other people heal. It's why I continue to do all the things that I do, in my life, because there's a thing where I think if we can help each other, it makes it lesser. And what's very important for a lot of people to remember, especially on days like this, you are not the only single person on the planet.
No, no.
But no, it's not a negative statement. It's literally just reminding people, because sometimes when you get stuck in your own trauma or your limiting fear-based beliefs, you can go, poor me. Why me? I'm looking for it. Where if you go, oh, there's a lot of people going through it, then take it back and go, why have I not allowed that lesson to manifest? What could potentially be blocking it? Where are my fears coming in?
Right.
So empower yourself. Your spirit has the ability to work through its traumas. It just needs to know that maybe it's okay to work through the traumas.
Yes. Yes.
And I mean, now,
and to give it permission to do that.
And now we'll flip around to the other side, then we'll sort of start wrapping things up.
Okay.
Because this was a big one today. There are also a lot of people that are in dysfunctional relationships right now because they don't believe they can do any better, or their belief system is that they're stuck.
Yes.
So things like Valentine's Day trigger them as well, because this belief system comes up of, oh, this is my life. I have this love, but this is my life, and it's not fulfilling or sustaining, So that's why it's so important for days like this. And I mean, like I said, I'm single. I adore Valentine's Day. It's ridiculous. Like, I love Valentine's Day. I love love. Like, I tell people that it's the strangest thing. I love love. Like, weird thing. Like, I'm vegetarian, but I love the smell of leather. Kind of thing. Like, I'm single, but I love love. I think it's fantastic. But again, like I said, and this is my stuff to work through, the thought of being in a committed relationship long term. For some reason, my spirit's like, go, girl, you got stuff to do on this planet before you die. Get gone. Like, so that's mine. But it doesn't mean you can't be happy or love it or excited, kind of thing. And the thing I want to caution people against, especially like we said, do ceremonies, light candles, set intentions. One thing, and I think it's very important, there is a lot of people now that have started the practice of having single parties, or I hate Valentine's Day parties.
Yes.
And again, if those are something you're enjoying, go ahead, but remember the intention that is setting.
Yes.
I hate Valentine's Day. Then it's like, okay, but why do you hate Valentine's Day? What are you really saying? You hate this couple thing, or you hate the day itself, or you hate the concept that you're alone? Because again, those things we go, ooh, careful, because you're rippling, and that energy loves company. If you're all getting together, manifesting this, putting it out in the ripple, again, you're resetting those intentions. So I'm not saying be all goo goo gaga kind of thing like that. That's not what we're saying by any means today. But what Lou and I are saying to you is, at least when it comes to something like romance or relationships, be consciously responsible for where your spirit is, even if it's not where you think you want your spirit to be right now.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Be accountable for, yes. It's important. It's important,
and that's hard. That is hard to take accountability. I've had some of those days when you go, ooh, that is bitter medicine.
Yeah.
Did not want to take that today. But, and again, it brings stuff up. It shifts stuff. And I mean, I'd be lying if I said I haven't had my years where, I'll cry on the floor at Valentine's Day and oh, why me? Poor me. I'm single. Then I meet somebody lovely and I go, bye. So I know mine are like patterns, like I said, from my past. I know what mine are. I have no qualms about it.
Oh my gosh.
The difference is I'm not viewing my life as lacking because I don't have the partner. And for me, that really helped because of Chandela, because they were like, oh, you're just learning lessons that don't require a partner right now. And there was this importance there where I was like, oh, okay, I'm just doing different stuff. If I want those lessons, I can have those lessons, you know? And I always say the universe is very smart. People don't think that, you know, that's why sometimes I tell people to be cautious with your list, that you make them so rigid of what you want. I go,
Yes.
the universe is very smart. They know I will need a partner when the time is right if I choose to work with a partner in this life. They will know that I need a partner who is patient in his energy, that would be able to go, you know, you take your time, do what you need to do, have his own independent energy while at the same time still being supportive. Like, you know, I tend to be a very independent person in my pattern, which is why I've addressed in other videos. It's very hard sometimes for me to ask for help. You know,
Yes.
I in my head, I'm just like, I'll just get it done myself. Don't worry. You know, and it doesn't mean I don't have these days where I'm not still lonely, or I don't go, oh, it'd be lovely to have a partner. But then I sit with it and I go, okay, but realistically, even though you want one, what is your belief around that right now? You know, and I think that's why that's so important, is I don't shame my beliefs. You
Mm,
know, so when the belief comes up that I go, oh, I'm scared, you go, you know what? That's fantastic. That's totally okay for you to have fear patterns. It's totally okay for this. It's totally okay for that. You know, and it's almost like we said with the spiritual practice, people have this belief that you shouldn't have fear, or you should just heal it once and be done with it. You know,
yes.
kind of thing. And I mean, you've
Yes.
seen before too, Lou, with your practice as well. Sometimes it takes a few sessions for people to get all the bits removed, bring back all the soul parts that have gone, multiple soul journeys. You know, it's not just necessarily one thing and it's fixed and done and move on.
No, no. And it does. It takes time. And when I started with my practice, I knew this would be a lifelong practice. And even
Yeah.
for me personally,
Hmm.
that I will continue to evolve. I will continue to learn. I will continue to make mistakes
Hmm.
and hopefully learn from them and be accountable.
Yeah.
And as you were talking about, making the list and everything, maybe like I do with the drum journeying circle, instead of putting intentions like for the year,
Yeah.
just do it on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
Write
Fantastic. Because
down,
you're
because
going to change. Yeah.
it changes all the time, right? You might meet somebody, you might talk to somebody,
Hmm.
you're going, oh, I never thought of it that way. Okay, I'm going to, readjust that list
Hmm.
and relook at that list and
And I
change
mean,
it.
that's important, because if there are people who meet somebody and they go, oh, I'm ready, I'm open. And then they meet the person and then they get scared. We go, great, make another list when you're scared.
Yeah.
You know, that's what Lou's saying here. Like, actively participate all the time. Be like, oh, I thought I was good, but now I have a fear. This is too good to be true. You're like, where did this come from? Oh, now I
Exactly.
have a fear about the long term. Where did this come from? You know, and that's why it's great with these lists. Now, with the list, we're not saying don't make lists. We're just saying don't be so rigid that you're like, this is the ones where you go, the person has to be 5'8" and he's gonna be blonde and he's gonna have
Yes.
like those ones.
Yes.
We go, careful, because I mean, what if he's 5'7" and you put this intention that you refuse to see this person, or you know, and I mean, one of mine is always something you told me, and I still laugh about it because I have a thing. So I don't think if there's a partner, he's younger. But I always had a thing. I'm like, I will not date somebody younger than me. Like, I don't know why. It was just like, no. And we always joke that he's probably going to be like 10 years younger than me, kind of thing. So, but I don't know. But that's all we're saying. So, you know, if you're going to put out an intention, put a general intention. You know, I'm open to receiving it. I'm open to working with this. I want a constructive, functional relationship that I can work with, you know, and maybe like we were saying earlier, just be a little bit careful with the word soulmate,
Yes.
because it denotes that there's only one. And if you lose that person or you don't find that person, that somehow you've screwed up and that you're not entitled to love.
And and for people to be truthful about things, you don't fall in love with just one person in your lifetime.
I
You
believe
don't.
if you can change together, then you stay together. But I
Yes.
also believe that there are multiple soul changing relationships that you can have in one life. I truly do. Because there would really, unless you're growing, like I said, with each other or sharing, or there really is no point in necessarily staying with the one partner the whole time if you're not doing any sort of growth or shifting. Because that's literally the point of being a human. And I mean, remember, when you pass with the soul connection, the soul group again, you will see your soul partner again. You know,
Mm.
so you'll see them after you die. So sometimes it's not necessary to always work with them on earth. Sometimes you have other people to learn from, grow from, you know. And this concept that if you lose the one, then it becomes this thing, you were punished or the universe took away or you're not worthy, you know. And for so many people, that creates fear before you even put out the intention.
Yes.
Because I mean, it's sort of
Yes.
like going and I think this is why it sounds weird. It's sort of like going, I'm gonna go buy a sweater, but it's gonna be the best sweater I've ever come across in my entire life. But I don't know what the sweater looks like or what it's gonna look like or what it's made out of. But somehow this sweater is supposed to last me for the next 40 years.
Right.
And you know, sometimes you get that awesome sweater that 10 years you're like, my favorite sweater. This is your cozy sweater. And other times you buy this amazing sweater and you go, oh, this thing fell apart in a week. Like, you know, you don't deny yourself another sweater. You go, I will not buy another sweater like that, you know, but I can still go look for a sweater. And that's all we're trying to say. If you found your fantastic, or you find that beautiful, fantastic forever sweater, rock it for all it's worth. That's a beautiful lesson in and of itself. But also know that there is no shame or embarrassment if you have 3 or 4 sweaters.
Yeah.
You know, if you have to work
Yeah.
through that. And again, I say that because I experience that a lot with clients who have lost partners.
Yes.
And then there's a guilt around moving on and having a new partner or finding a new partner because they go, but this is the person I loved, you know. But and there's a thing that we go, yes, but you're still human and you're still learning. You know, you can learn more lessons from another partner that's just teaching you different lessons. And I think that's why that's very important, or especially relationships that people have been married for 20 years and then they get divorced. You know, and you see that often too. People are married for multiple years and then somebody comes home and goes, we're done. See you later, bye, completely out of the blue. And then the person's entire life stops because they go, but it was built on this. This was the one. This is the person I was meant to be with. And, you know, a lot of that does unfortunately come, and I don't want to blame our parents or grandparents, but there is that belief, you know, till death do us part.
Yes.
You know, and a
Yes.
lot of people in my parents' generation, my grandparents' generation, stayed in dysfunctional relationships because it was considered inappropriate or it would be embarrassing to leave. You know, you stay with that person till the bitter end. And I think that's why it's important. If you grow together and you challenge but not restrict each other, then it's a beautiful growth-based relationship. Rock it for all it's worth. If, however, you are in a space where you no longer feel fulfilled, sustained, or that your soul is somehow in a place of happiness, it is your right to say, I want to change that and go have another functional relationship that works and helps me grow.
Yeah.
You know, look at it like a lesson, not a life sentence.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And that's, well, you said it perfectly. A relationship, any type of relationship,
Yes, friendship,
has
anything, yeah.
has to evolve, has
Yep.
to change, and you know, there might be one in the relationship that will evolve or change a little bit, and things like that. It's if you have a partnership or you know, a friendship or whatever, that the other person allows that and is finds joy in that because they see that their friend or their partner is so happy, and you know, I call it the cheerleaders. You know,
Yeah.
it's important to have cheerleaders in your corner. Let it be in friendships or let it be in relationships. You know, and that there's a place and a safe place that you can speak
Yes.
and share, and you know, you won't be judged, and
Yes. Yeah.
you know, it's anyway.
Anyway, this is one of these beautiful topics that we can honestly go on for weeks. We could go into dynamics and everything. So we don't overwhelm you today. And there is a lot that we bought through. So please remember, we do save all the videos. This one, again, will be uploaded onto YouTube on the channel Spiritual Media and Paleki. We are on audio ones. And again, we post the links on our Facebook pages as well. But we are on Spotify, Podbean, Google Podcasts. I don't know what happened with Apple. I put in the application thing. I just haven't heard back. So maybe we're there, maybe we're not. I don't know. But so we are on all those. So again, please go back, make notes, everything. Like and share, comment, let people know. Because the way that we want you to understand it is we are sharing these teachings with you so that you can take them and do with them as you need. You can take them and use them as you need to. But remember that no matter what, the big sort of wrap up, the beautiful heart wrap up, you know, kind of thing I want to leave people with today is, even if you don't feel loved, remember that you are loved more than you can comprehend by the universe.
Yes.
You know, and I think that's very important. So even though you might not feel the love or feel that you have that physical love, you are 100% loved. Your sadness just might be blocking your little receptors to picking up on that. So remember, you are not forgotten. You are not lost in this big bad world all on your own. You are loved by the universe. You just might have taken on a few challenging lessons that you got stuck in, believing you can't change them, and it is your birthright to shift them if you do want to. So I think that is what I have to say on this topic, Miss Lou. So anything before we wrap ourselves up here?
No, happy Valentine's Day, P.
Yes, happy Valentine's Day to you too. Go watch my Hallmark movies. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, my friends, for joining us again this week for another episode of Pilu. And who knows, it's going to be a surprise now. If we're here next week, we're here next week. If we're here in 2 weeks, we're here in 2 weeks. So surprise. But please do follow our social media pages on Facebook, Spiritual Medium Paleki, or Spiritual Medium. Wait, spiritual.medium.paleki is Instagram.
Yes.
Angel, what is my page name, Lou?
Angel Messages with Paleki.
Oh, Angel Messages with Paleki. Like
on Facebook.
On Facebook, complete. Well, no, I think when I look at, if you look up Spiritual Medium Paleki, it does find my page, but it's not named that. So no. I had a brain fart there at a moment. But yes, and look us up, please. It's P-Lou on other social media feeds for the podcast. But on Spotify, it's P-Lou, all one word, no dash.
Yes.
But again, everything will be posted below. And thank you, my friends. We hope you have a beautiful, lovely, and fantastic.
Hello.
Yes. Oh, sorry, Lou. Oh, my God. Sorry, I'm used to you just jumping.
Welcome to the P Show. It's a good thing I love you.
Right? Okay. Oh, okay. Louise.
You can find me on Facebook.
If you wanted to.
If you want to, your healing journey with Louise Lang Farr. And in Instagram, Journeying with Louise Lang Farr.
Beautiful. And also you started back up your art page, Red Lang Lou Originals.
Yes, Red Lang Lou Originals. Well, it's always been on Facebook. Journeying with Louise Lang Farr has some of my art.
Yes, so perfect. So if you want to look for beautiful shamanic art or sacred art that Louise has created, that is a great source to go to. So, okay, before I say goodbye, have I forgotten anything on your end?
I don't know.
We're friends. Beautiful. All right. Thank you, my friends. We hope you have a lovely and beautiful week. May the universe bless you and may you find much happiness. Take care. Be well. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye, Lou. Love you.
Bye. Love you. Bye.